Piece out in the Daily Beast about Jill Stein, presidential candidate for the Green Party. So I have a lot of mixed thoughts about this, and we're going to go through it together, and then I will explain. First of all, it is clearly intended to attack her. There's no question about that. And it is done on the eve of the election to make sure that people don't vote for her, that they will vote for Hillary Clinton instead. I would bet any amount of money that the writer of this piece will vote for Hillary Clinton. I think that is exceedingly clear from the piece. Now, that doesn't mean that it's not true. Same thing with the WikiLeaks emails. Some people say, hey, there's credible evidence that it was the Russians who leaked it. Okay, fair enough, and we should investigate that. And I don't have a conclusion on it, but I understand that there is some evidence to that effect. It doesn't mean that the emails aren't true. Those things can be true at the same time. Maybe the Russians did do it, but they're still true emails. It could be that this is a hatchet job, but it could still be true. So let's look into it. First of all, you get a sense right from the beginning of the article. Yashar Ali writes, the holier-than-thou Green Party candidate rails against big carbon, big banks, big pharma, while she holds substantial investments in them. When you begin with holier-than-thou, I get a sense of which direction you're going. Okay, so they point out Jill Stein's investments that she has overall is somewhere between $3.8 million to $8.5 million. Now, she's a Harvard-trained physician, and her husband and her have this amount of money. Now, this is kind of like a Republican attack against Jill Stein. This is what they do to people like Al Gore. Oh, you say you're for helping the poor people, but you have money. Yeah, what would you like me to do? Be greedy and just try to keep my money instead? Yeah, I have money and I want to help poor people. Okay, that's not a bad thing, that's a good thing. So, okay, I mean, if they didn't have the snide comments throughout, I'd say, oh, okay, that's the investment amount, now let's look at it. But you can tell that they're like, she's a liberal but still has money. Oh, I'm glad to see that the people on Hillary Clinton's side are real liberals when they use this kind of conservative attacks against other liberals. Anyway, then you get more of a sense of the attitude of the writer. She has made, referring to Jill Stein, she has made purity a central pillar of her presidential candidacy, and she has held that the Green Party reigns above all others with respect to moral and ethical supremacy. It seems a bit much. Okay, now it would be fair to point out, and I agree, that Stein has been saying all along, hey, you can't vote for the lesser of two evils. Now, when you go in with an attitude like that, you really got to come correct on your own positions because you're putting it out that, hey, I'm a person you can vote for in good conscience, and I don't have any of the issues that those guys have. And I get it, she's running against them, and that's a fine line of political attacks. Now, I wouldn't go as far as this writer who's like, she said that she was morally and ethically superior to everyone. No, she didn't say that. Okay, you're way overstretching it. Okay, but it's true that Jill Stein has said things like this. I have long since thrown in the towel on the Democratic and Republican parties because they are really a front group for the 1%, for predatory banks, fossil fuel giants, and war profiteers. Now, they're going to go on and explain the mutual funds that she puts her money into actually does go into some of those industries that she criticizes. But I want to be very clear here. Those industries, even if Jill Stein invests in them, it doesn't make them right? So you can criticize her for investing in those industries, I understand that. But if you go further, and there seems to be like an intimation here like, oh, you see that? It's actually totally fine to be with the war profiteers and the fossil fuel industry. Ha, we got you, right? No, just calm down. Let's look at it together and let's figure out what makes sense and what doesn't and who's responsible. So now, this is reality. Stein has invested apparently $995,000 to $2.2 million in funds such as the Vanguard 500 fund that maintains significant stakes in Exxon and other energy companies like Chevron, Duke Energy, ConocoPhillips, and Toho Gas, a Japanese company that engages in the sale of natural gas, tar and coke, a fuel made from coal. So understand this is part of a mutual fund. Now, I'm going to give you more examples. I had a pension left over from when I was on Current TV. Do I have any idea what's in that? I gotta be honest, I don't. So this is the kind of attack you could do on almost anyone, But if you're part of the Green Party and you're saying these are terrible industries and you have money invested in them, I think it's a fair criticism. So let's keep going, and obviously you're going to make up your own mind on what you think here. But in one of the handful of direct stock investments Stein holds, she listed between $50,000 and $100,000 in pharmaceutical giant Merck, which paid a record fine for overbilling Medicaid. She has also invested $1.1 to $2.4 million in funds that maintain significant stakes in Pfizer, Novartis, Johnson & Johnson, and Allergan. So I want to be clear about that. The latter companies, Johnson & Johnson, et cetera, she's in a fund, the fund invests in them. To what degree she knows that, I don't know. Merck, she has a direct investment in. Okay, so by the way, she doesn't deny any of this. I'll get to her statement in a second. They also talk about some tobacco company that she indirectly has money in. And now finally, she has between $50,000 and $100,000 invested in a fund that has Raytheon Corporation as its fourth largest holding, a $38 million investment. Raytheon, which is the fourth largest defense contractor in the world and derives 90% of its revenue from military contracts, manufactures drone systems, which Stein has committed to ending, and significant missile systems. Okay. Look, if everybody's going to be perfect, they would not do those investments, then they would go and do other investments that pay, like if they say, well, you just do treasury bonds, which gets you almost no return at all. So it turns out Jill Stein's human. Congratulations, you got her. Now, on the other hand, if you're in the Green Party, you might think, well, that's a shame. I wish she didn't do that. Now, let me give you her statement so that we give her perspective. She says, like many Americans who hold retirement accounts, pension funds, or who invest in the American economy, my finances are largely held in index funds or mutual funds over which I have no control in management or decision making. Sadly, most of these broad investments are as compromised as the American economy, degraded as it is by the fossil fuel, defense, and finance industries. That's true, and if I had the kind of money she has, I'm not positive what I would do if I was in her situation. I'm not a guy who is, above anything, right? Like meaning that, like I'm not putting myself as like I got this thing on lockdown. I am the most moral guy. I'm this or that, right? So I'm telling you right now, I don't know what the hell's in my pension fund, right? And I hope it's not in really bad industries, and now I got to look into it. But you can't make money in the treasury bonds. I don't know. If I had her kind of money, and she makes $300,000, I don't know to what degree that's, she's retired obviously in part of the Green Party now, not a physician anymore. I don't know what degree it's her husband's salary and how much it is in interest. I get that they'd want interest. I'd want interest on it. And it's hard to find other funds. Now, there are some clean energy funds apparently, but Daily Beast explains in her statement, Stein said that she has explored more socially responsible funds, but, quote, found their investments in fracking and large-scale biofuels not much better than the non-green funds. I have not yet found the mutual funds that represent my goals of advancing the cause of the people, the planet, and peace. Look, if you're running a campaign on don't vote for the lesser of two evils, and we've got to make sure to always do the right thing and have the principled positions, then you say, well, I didn't like the clean energy funds, and I can't make money from the Treasury, and so I just kept my money on funds that apparently she acknowledges she knows goes to the wrong industries. Yeah, that's going to be a problem, right? So you have to be honest about that. At the same time, I never thought Jill Stein was non-human. I don't know. I never thought she was holier than thou or, this Mother Teresa kind of figure. I thought she was a politician. But I honestly, guys, that's why I never believed in this whole never vote for the lesser of two evils because it's still evil. The reality is nobody's perfect. You could make that argument in any race. Okay, fine, we're voting for the lesser of four evils in this race or five evils. But at the same time, there's a false equivalency there. Because Jill Stein has a mutual fund does not make her the same as Hillary Clinton, whose family, between her and Bill, have taken in $3 billion in paid speeches, in direct money in their pockets, in campaign donations, in independent expenditures, in super PAC money, and Clinton Foundation. A mutual fund and $3 billion given to you by millionaires, billionaires, and multinational corporations is not the same thing. anyone pretending that it's the same thing. Like the Daily Beast gives a feeling of like, well, we got her. Same thing. Everybody does it. She does it. She does the same thing. No, it's not the same thing. At the same time, okay, breaking news. Yes, it turns out Jill Stein, as a lot of us suspected, is not perfect. Now, your call to make it on which direction you want to go. Don't ignore the facts. That's not a liberal position, okay? At the same time, don't give in to false equivalencies either. So now you know, and that's our job, is to deliver the news for you. You know who makes independent media possible? You guys. Because of you, we can actually do this show free of any outside influence. That's what makes us so strong. Become a member today. tytnetwork.com/join. You are the media.